Welcome to the Everglow Show. I'm Eric McClanahan. I am joined by Kylan Savage, host
Mhm.
of Church Jams Now and in defense of Kesha. What's up, Kylan?
Not much. Uh, it's almost my birthday, so this is my birthday episode.
Happy birthdays in the comments, even though it'll be,
Yeah,
a
I
little
know
while
this won't come out for
after.
forever.
It's all right. Also joined by the author of Jesus and Joe Strummer and short stories for people with short attention spans, now available for pre-order.
I think it'll
Uh,
be out by the time
Yeah,
this.
purchase at
okay.
Yeah,
by the
yeah,
time
by the
this
time
airs,
this.
purchase because
Yeah,
it's
all
out
right.
Tuesday.
Okay, yeah. It will be, it's available for purchase now on Amazon. And
Amazon
probably,
Bookshop.
okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
you don't have to
Nice.
you don't have to give your money to the evil empire.
That's right.
AJ Simmons. How you doing, AJ?
Oh, fantastic, man.
Awesome. So we're continuing the series where I'm introducing the guys to some albums and some they're already familiar with of my all-time favorites, and they're kind of helping me think through where I'm going to position these on my all-time top albums list. Today we got Riviera by Shadow Shadow. Was originally released in 2013, even though all the streaming services say 2014, which is when it got a wider release.
Hmm.
Written and produced by Matthias Freiberg of the band Log, who also have an album in this series that we'll be
Oh,
covering at
really?
some
Oh,
point.
cool.
Yeah. Um, Lots of guest performances on this. It's all really Matthias's beast, but he had several uh, female vocalists and players from, I believe they're all from Sweden, who performed on this. I won't butcher all of their names, but there are seven or eight, nine. Um, so yeah, Kylan, do you have any history with Shadow Shadow?
I had literally never heard of this
Okay.
until you brought it up. Like, had zero knowledge of this.
Well, this was their only album.
Yeah.
I'm hopefully there will be another one at
You're
some
just
point, but
you're much more hip than I am and
no,
much
I
more
don't.
aware of. Yeah, no, really. Like there's so many like you're one of the few people in my life that knows like a majority of bands that I've like never even heard of.
Well, I still have
Sorry,
a lot to
AJ.
learn,
I
and
know all of your bands.
there's some you introduced me to as well, though. AJ, do you have any history with Shadow Shadow?
No history before you.
All right. Yeah, I found them because I had found some log albums in discount bins and became a pretty big fan. One of my favorite discount bin finds was this band, who,
That's
uh, as I was following them, I saw that he was
that you
releasing
found.
this project, which,
Nice.
yeah. Um, so yeah.
That'd be a good idea for an episode too, by the way.
Oh yeah,
Like
yeah, it
discount like
would.
best treasures that we found or
Oh
whatever,
yeah,
you know?
yeah, that's a good one. I'm writing that down. Um, so our rating scales, Kylan is 0 to 5, AJ is
Zero to 5.
0 to 3, right?
Yeah, 0 to 5 Swedish krone this time.
All right. And then mine is also 0 to 5, and then I have what I call the pitchfork scale, where I rate each song from 0.0 to 10.0. This being the series being all my favorite albums of all time, there's not many lower scores on these, but um, so the first single was track one, Riviera. Um, AJ, what do
Wait,
you
wait,
think
wait.
of the?
Hold on,
Okay,
hold on. Hey,
okay.
are you gonna give predictions?
Oh yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I did. I skipped over my predictions. Okay, predicting a two for AJ might be too spacey for him,
Mm.
but I know he does like some of the dark electronic kind of stuff. So conservatively, I'm going to guess a two, and I'm
Two.
going to guess a three for Kylan.
A three. Okay.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I don't know how much this is your kind of thing. So I guess we'll
Okay. I guess we'll find
find
out.
out. Yeah. Um. So yeah, track one, Riviera. the first single. AJ, what are your thoughts on this one?
I think this is a good intro, right? Like
Mhm.
feels like a movie intro for like an 80s film, very dreamy synth pop, kind of like the harmonizing dual male and female vocals. Drums are used sparingly but well. I like the louder synths that come in. It kind of like brings you into their world. I think in a really good way. It sort of like builds throughout the song. So yeah, good opening track. I have this as a 2.25.
All right.
Okay.
Kylan, what do you think of this track?
Um, okay, I did not expect this. I don't know. I don't know what I had no expectations, but I didn't expect this. Like, it's definitely. And when did this come out? 2013.
2013, yeah,
So
originally, yeah.
I like it because it really it's got that real 80s synth
Hmm.
vibe, throwback vibe, like very much Stranger Things before Stranger Things came out. Like
Yeah.
heavy on like that very specific kind of like almost like John Carpenter inspired kind of synth
Mhm.
stuff. Like a little heavy-handed, but like in a really cool way. I don't
Hmm.
know. Um, it was very cool. I really love this song. It makes sense. I did not know that they were Swedish. Um, but it makes sense then. Some of their line delivery, like on the run from the air-conditioned dungeons of the day, was like
Hmm.
really weird, like totally unexpected
Yeah.
from like a native English speaker. I'm like, that's not like how you say that, but it makes sense. It like fits with the vibe of the song.
Right.
Yeah, I thought this was super rad. I gave this. Let me see what I gave this. I don't think I picked a favorite song. Let me see. I gave this a 4.5 out of 5.
Oh, nice. That's
Whoa.
that's
Yeah,
a good
dude.
start.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Buckle
me,
up,
I
baby.
I heard the single first before I heard the whole album. And like from the first synth notes, this became like my most anticipated album of the year that just hit me right off the bat. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, this is at the time I was really like really starting to get into synth pop and looking for what would be my favorite albums in this genre that I started to love. And like when I heard this song, I was like, okay, this is an album for me to watch in this genre.
Yeah.
Um, the vintage space synth sound, I guess, is
Yeah.
kind of what I call it.
Hmm.
Um, love the male female harmonies in the verses. I like how it builds in intensity kind of towards the end of the song.
Yep.
Um,
Ramps
this,
up to the album, right? Like it's a really good
yeah,
intro. Yeah.
yeah. Um, I give this a 5 star 9.9. It's in my top 100 songs of all time. Um, I guess technically that makes it my favorite song on the album, but there are some others that are pretty close.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Fun fact, this is my least favorite song on the album.
really
Wow.
interesting. Okay,
Huh.
Yeah.
All right.
very interesting. All right.
I still like it. It's just there's got
Yeah.
to be a favorite and least favorite, right? So
That's true. That's
So
true.
at 2.25, that means that's you must end up liking this album quite a bit.
Mm.
We'll see, I guess.
spoiler alert.
Track two, Skull Drums. Kylan, thoughts on this one?
I love keeping the like 80s vibe. It's got a little bit of like that almost like 16-bit synth kind of sound. And I don't
Hmm.
know. I am curious, not that it changes my opinion much, but I would be curious from a production standpoint if these were like analog synths
So is
or
this a
if they
Ronnie Martin
were
situation?
or if they were or if they were like digital like plugins and stuff.
I seem to recall them being actual analog synths that he would like uh locked himself in a cabin, that typical, Boney Bear kind of thing, except
Right.
with a bunch of vintage synths, and
That's
that's
cool.
kind of how this album was written, if I recall correctly. It's been a while, but
Mm.
yeah.
I love it. I love so I didn't realize it's multiple female vocalists. They all
Hmm.
sound like pretty similar to
Yeah,
Yeah,
me.
they
really
do.
similar. That
Yeah.
surprised me.
I love it. This reminds me of like early churches.
Hmm.
Yes.
Very much, which this is totally a vibe that I love. Eric, you will come to find out that most like female led synth pop is 1,000% my vibe. So
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, this got a 4 out of 5 from me.
Cool. AJ?
Yeah, I dig this one as well. I have the same note about this being a very Churches vibe. Um,
So about her delivery, some of those melodies too
yes,
feel real
yeah, I
churches.
agree. Yeah, it's very dancey, enjoyable synth pop. I really like the vocals on this. But yeah, 2.5 for me.
Cool. All right.
Nice.
Um, this is my least favorite song on the album, but it's still 4 stars, 8.8. More upbeat kind of than most of the rest of the album, which I think was necessary, but
Yep.
isn't as much my vibe. Um, I really like the opening drums. Kind of they hit kind of like a digital version of like the tribal drums. I feel
Yeah.
like.
Hmm.
Um,
Mhm.
and the synth sounds great. Um, yeah, 4 stars for me.
I like
Uh,
it. The synths have a real because of the analog thing. They have that. It's a like a tape effect. It's that
mhm,
warble that it's like you
yeah.
know. So if they did that analog, that's like even cooler. I'll explain for listeners slash viewers who may not know. Um, when you record to actual tape, like in an analog tape, it's being played back on a mechanism. And sometimes, like, it's not like how digital everything is the exact same tempo. There's like tiny little fluctuations in how fast or how slow it's reading that
Mhm.
tape, which is how you get that sort of like warbling effect, which is one of my favorite things.
I actually I I love this album so much that it made me find like a small like handheld
Nice.
synthesizer, like
Oh, that's
analog
rad.
synthesizer. So I bought that for like $30 and I just played around with it just
That's
to
sweet.
I don't know.
I
I
love
was
it.
really into the synth sound around this time.
That's cool.
Um, Track three, A Million and One, I would guess is how it's said, considering that's how they say it in the song. Uh,
Oh, that makes sense. I put it into a binary translator because I
oh
wasn't
yeah.
sure. It's the letter A.
Oh, is it? Okay. Interesting. So what do you think about this one then, Kylan?
Okay. This song, I'm curious if this is your favorite song on the record.
Okay.
Uh, this would be my prediction for your favorite song,
Okay.
simply because, we just covered The Cure,
Mm-hmm.
and this song to me feels the most like a Cure song. Even like I think the way the lyrics are, it's sort of a stream of consciousness thing. There's not like a hook. It's not like verse chorus.
Mm-hmm.
And even her delivery honestly reminded me of I wrote of old Robbie himself in my notes. Just it's got this kind of like yearning, uh, like really honest vocal performance that yeah to me and the drums and stuff it totally reminds me of The Cure. Um, I gave this a 4 out of 5.
Okay. AJ?
I really like the big drums that come in like right at the start, right? And I think if I remember correctly, that this is the track that the light bulb went off about who this band reminds me of. Paper Route.
Mm.
Yes.
So I described them to my wonderful wife as Paper Route at their most dreamy with a female vocalist.
Mm. Yeah, that works.
Um, and this was the song that I was like, yes, I think so anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, I really dig this a lot. I have this as a 2.75.
Cool. This is not my favorite song on the album. It is a 5 star, 9.7. Um, I love the synth, love the melody. It was the second single. They actually did a music video for this song,
Cool.
um, which is pretty cool. I haven't watched it for a long time, but I remember it being pretty fitting for the song. Yeah, just a solid darker synth pop song. A little bit has a little bit of hope in there, I think, but it's still kind of on the dark side, I would say.
Hmm.
Very much
Uh,
like The Cure. I'm gonna bring up my
yeah,
point again.
exactly. There you go. I think it's one of the best choruses on the album, and
Hmm.
the vocal performance is excellent.
I love her vocal
I do
performance.
too.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
good.
I need to I need to see if I can find out which singers were on which songs and kind of dig into their all
Yeah.
Yeah.
their solo projects or what their bands or whatever. Um, So it's a 5 star, 9.7 for me, which is a very solid 5 stars. Track 4, Treasure Island. AJ, what do you think of this one?
I love this song. I love the lyrics of it. I love the music. Like, as I understand it, like or at least interpret the lyrics, it seems to be a song about wanting to keep like a romantic relationship, or at the very least, like the love you have for someone, secret, because you think the world, knowing about it will do it harm. Which is, I think, really beautiful. This is in fact my favorite track on the album.
Okay,
Um, so yeah, 3 out of 3. Big fan of
cool.
this one.
Awesome. Kylan?
Yeah, I love this. So most of my notes, since I said I like so much female-led synth pop and stuff, I've got just like a lot of comparisons too. This reminds me very specifically of album that came out this year, Faith Crisis Part 1 by Middle Kids. They have these
Hmm.
two interlude tracks
Mm-hmm.
which continue some of the themes and stuff from the previous songs, but are this like slow, drawn out, dreamy kind of thing with these like glitched out vocal effects that happen more towards the end of this song. Um,
Mhm.
I yeah, I love this too. This is another 4 out of 5 for me.
Cool. Um, yeah, it's another 5 star, 9.7 for me. Great chorus and vocal performance. I like the bridge. Just not. I mean, it's kind of the way it sounds. That you've got a heart full of gold, but it's cold like the night. I'm building a fire to keep it alive. I like the lyrics, but I really love her delivery of it. Um, Pretty awesome. Um, this this song kind of reminds me of I always when I'm telling people about this album, I say that it's sounds like synth pop hits from a colder, darker world. And this is
Mm,
kind of one of the songs that I think fits that description for me. I think that the ending you were talking about, how it almost sounds like jumbled radio transmission,
yeah.
which kind of adds to my, I guess, uh, feeling of calling the album that.
hmm
Um,
for sure.
but yeah,
There's also some like Tegan and Sarah vibes, like later Tegan and Sarah, when they're kind of
Yeah.
doing the electronic
hmm
stuff
oh yeah,
more.
yeah,
So
yeah. Track 5, 1,000 Lost Golf Balls, which I think is an interesting title.
yeah.
AJ, what do you think of this one?
I like the drums and synth on this one. It's more aggressive, but
Hmm.
by their standards, right? And again, this is kind
Yeah.
of very paper outy. It seems like it could be either about being like dissatisfied living like a big city, or I think maybe like living with depression, right? It's always night where we would not need light. Like at that line, kind of made me think, um, could be beyond being like disappointed with living in Stockholm. But yeah, I dig this one. 2.5 out of 3.
Cool. Kylan?
Yeah, okay. I love this too. So, okay, I have a theory. I'm pulling a TJ from Church Hymns now. Um, I think okay, so if you look like on their Bandcamp page, it says he's based out of Los Angeles, and I think it's even got a hashtag or like Los Angeles. The tags on the album on Bandcamp are alternative electronic Los Angeles.
Hmm.
And then even the album art looks like, palm trees and stuff, but like super distorted, like,
Hmm.
you know. So
Interesting.
it seems like, yeah, to kind of go along with what AJ was saying, I think it is kind of like I think it's maybe kind of living with that depression and maybe having this colder mindset, but then presenting it in this sort of like bubblegum pop way by being in Los
Hmm.
Angeles. I think it just that just kind of like opened up
Hmm.
like the record for me as like not as like a concept album, but like I think these are themes that he's like working through. Um,
Interesting.
Yeah, and musically, to me, this is pure like Synthetica era Metric, which
Hmm.
Oh
Metric
yeah.
is one of my favorite bands,
Hmm.
and specifically like in the Synthetica era, like this could totally fit as a B-side on that album. The synth line like threw me off at first, but in a cool way
Hmm.
Yeah.
because it goes like musically, it doesn't go where your brain wants it to go. Um, I give this another 4 out of 5.
Cool. Yeah, that opening synth line is so like kind of big and bright that I'm like, okay, are they going for like the final countdown level
Right, yeah.
big here? But it settles into a pretty nice groove. It's a really good start to the B side of the vinyl. I thought that the first time I listened to this was on the vinyl. It was not on streaming
Oh, nice.
yet, since I was kind of, I guess, one of the earlier people following this. I had to wait for my vinyl to get here from, for some reason, I feel like it came from Switzerland rather than
Mm.
Sweden, but yeah, got that laid on my floor and listened to the vinyl with the lights out. It was
Which is the
pretty,
perfect setting for this
yeah,
album.
Yeah.
it was a great
100%.
Did
great
you fall
experience.
asleep? I would fall asleep.
No, I was
I
I
think
was
we talked about this,
enamored
or
with
y'all
it.
talked about this in the group
Yeah,
text too.
Yeah.
Like you can't listen
yeah,
to it if you're at all sleepy.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I can totally get that. I like the "It's Always Night or We Would Not Need Light"
Yeah.
Mhm.
phrase. Crosses my mind all the time for some reason. Um, and I kind of like that he comes back in
Hmm.
to
Yeah.
deliver the vocals
Yeah,
after
well, I
being
thought
absent
that
for
was
a
a really
while.
interesting choice. So
Hmm.
I didn't realize at first it was basically like a solo project where he brought
Hmm.
people in because he's on the first song and
Hmm.
then none of the other songs on side A. Um, and then he comes back here. I thought that was like a
Hmm.
really interesting uh like musical decision.
Yeah, and he has a good voice. I
I
wonder.
like it. It reminds me of something and I
Yeah.
can't figure it out. Reminds me of someone, some like emo indie kind of singer and I can't place it.
Stars.
Stars.
Oh,
There it
okay. Yeah.
is. There it is. That thousand
The
percent.
male
Yes.
vocalist on Stars,
Yes.
yeah. I don't
Thousand
know
percent.
the name, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool. Um.
As soon
So
as you
yeah, that
said that, my
was.
brain was like
Hmm.
reaching. I was like, I know what he's talking about. I know what he's talking about. Give me to the song.
Yeah. No, that's
So
perfect.
it's a 4.5, 9.4 for me.
Mm.
Let's go to track 6, Sunset Bending. Kylan, thoughts on this one?
Um. Yeah. To go back to his voice, like I love his voice.
Hmm.
Um. I like the interplay of him. Like he kind of had like majority female, and then it's like starting side B is like going into like more of his kind of stuff. I am
Hmm.
starting to get a little sleepy listening to it at this point. And I think if I had heard this song earlier, we've talked about this a lot, guys. Like it's hard for me to do the individual rankings without the context of the whole record. So I think simply based on placement, this went down from a 4 to a 3.5.
Okay.
Because it's a little long. It's not like overly long, but it's a little long.
Yeah.
It's a little lower tempo, kind of sleepy.
Yeah. Okay. AJ?
Um, I like this one. I really love the lyrics, right? Like it seems to tell this like story of someone that maybe you loved once that like left this like lasting mark on you, right?
Hmm.
At the bottom of the well, you left your name, you haunt the night. Like that's a
Hmm.
really um vivid, descriptive
Yeah.
line. So yeah, I really dig this. I have it as a 2.75.
Cool. Um,
This is a very Stars song now that I have that in my head. Like you hear this
A
and
thousand
like,
percent. Yeah.
yeah. Uh, I really like the kind of slower pace synth lines, and it feels like they like different synthesizers are kind of like floating around the main one, like
Hmm.
different.
mm-hmm.
And I like the way that sounds kind of adds to the spacey vibe, I think. Love the verse and the verse melody. I just think it's a gorgeous tune, and there's like a synth solo kind of thing
Yeah.
at 246 that I think is pretty rad. It's a 5 star 9.8 for me.
Wow.
It's in my top 250 favorite songs of all time.
Nice.
Um,
Yeah, it's funny. Okay, now I can't get over the stars thing. Like, I think if you replaced all of the synths, all the like synth lead lines with guitars, it would be a
Mm-hmm.
stars
yeah,
song.
I can hear that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um, all right, let's go to track 7, Where the Ocean Is. AJ, what do you think of this one?
Paper Route is back. Like late Paper Route is
Yeah.
back, right? And I love that the drums almost sound like a heartbeat
Oh yeah.
on this. So yeah, I like this. It's another 2.5 for me.
Cool. Kylan?
Yeah, I love this drum intro. It's like real
Mm-hmm.
glitchy and like it feels almost like he's playing like a drum loop through a sampler and is like messing with the tempo a little
Mm.
bit. It's kind of like
Mm.
it's like a little wobbly and kind of stressful, but I like it. Um, this reminds me a lot too. I don't know if you guys know the band Polika. Have you guys heard of
Mm-hmm.
them?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This kind of reminds me of that because they're like a little more kind of like trip hop,
Mm.
but they're a group I like a lot. And this kind of reminded me of that. Um, but it suffers again from the sleepiness a little bit for me,
Mm.
so that just bumps it down to a 3.5.
Okay. Um, yeah, I like it. It almost sounds like a trap beat
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
at the beginning. I think it's pretty cool. Synthesizers take a little bit of a backseat on this one, I think,
Mm-hmm.
to just
Yeah.
kind of that beat, and I love the lyrics and the melodies and pretty much everything in the song. At 2:33, when the bridge kicks in, I think is just a really great melody, and it's followed by like some minimalist piano
Yeah.
that I think is a nice touch that hasn't been anywhere else in the album. Um, I seem to remember this song like showing up on one of the MTV shows, like when they were giving their last dying breath of
Oh,
like
interesting.
catfish and stuff like that on there. Um, and I was kind of surprised to hear that on there. But it's a 5 star, 9.8 for me. At one time, this was my favorite song on the album. This one and
Okay.
Riviera have kind of gone back and forth over the years
Okay.
as my favorite. So yeah, in
Nice.
my top 250 songs. Track 8, Kill Screen. Kylan, what do you think of this one?
Um, I like we're starting to bring it up, give it a little bit of a different vibe. This feels real, like this intro feels real 80s throwback.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, am I gonna mess this up? Simple Minds, right? They're the
Mm-hmm.
ones that,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like it's got a little bit of that um kind of vibe. But I'm digging it, man. It's real vibey. It's
Mm-hmm.
just like this whole record is like real vibey. Listening to this throughout my week, it did feel like like a really cool soundtrack to like a movie I was in. I
Mm-hmm.
just kept imagining, kept daydreaming I was in a movie. Um, I
Like
gave
the
this
Drive
a
soundtrack a lot. It really reminds me of the Drive
oh
soundtrack.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. This is a 4 out of 5.
Cool. AJ?
I dig this. I really like the synth sound that almost like audibly sounds like a xylophone almost like you're like
Mm-hmm.
synths using a xylophone or running it
Yeah,
through
it
one.
does sound like that. Yeah.
Like xylophone through a synth. And so I dig this. The I like kind of the distortion there on the audio. It's
Vocal,
again
yeah,
something different, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because this
yep,
is so dreamy or sleepy at times. Like as you're getting this back half, you want to start having something different that the brain can kind
exactly,
of
yep,
connect to and go like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And this I think does that really well. So this is a 2.5 out of 3 for me.
Okay.
sweet,
Um, yeah, another one of the more upbeat songs, which, like I said, I think are necessary, but not necessarily kind of my favorite parts of the album. It's still 4.5 for me, 9.2. Uh, just good verses, melodies. I had like the xylophone sounding keys or whatever
yeah,
they are was interesting. I feel like they do a really good job of kind of adding a new element to every song, despite it kind of
yep,
being a little bit, I guess, samey to some people, maybe.
to me.
Um, so
I'm some people.
yeah, it's a 4.5 for me.
Sweet.
Uh, let's go to the last track, track
Dang, we're just
9.
blasting through this.
Yeah,
I
we
forget
are.
this is a short record.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a short record, like not only number of songs, but also the length of the songs.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
this is a
It's
Kylan
They're all
record.
normal lengths.
this is a rarity in my list of
Uh-huh.
a
Yeah.
normal length album with normal length songs. So track 9, Hylos. AJ, what do you think of this one?
So this sort of sounds, or at least like invokes the image of like a flock of birds overhead,
Mm,
Hmm.
I like that.
right? At the beginning, like this part here.
Hmm.
And then there's this like weird sound that sort of like reminded me of like a frog croaking, sort of that like
Yeah.
comes in.
Yeah.
And it feels very much like you're walking through like a meadow on like a
Mm.
bright sunny day, and then the drums start,
Yeah.
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And so it's I think a really great outro song. I spoke highly of the first one as an intro song, and this is a really good outro
It really
song.
is. Yeah.
Kind of again saying goodbye.
Hmm.
Um, again, the movie's ending.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and so this is another 2.5 for me.
Cool. Kylan?
Um, is it this is the first song where I distinctly noticed guitar.
Hmm. Yeah.
There's definitely guitar in this intro. Um, I hadn't really noticed it. I'm sure it's there throughout the record, but he's really good at building these like music beds with all of
Hmm.
these like different like super layered sounds. Yeah, I love this. Same thing as AJ. Like I think this is a perfect album closer. I give this another 4 out of 5, man.
Cool.
Good.
Yeah, I like the kind of the pitch shifted voice clips or whatever at the beginning, like you were mentioning, AJ. Feels like a very Cure move. Feel like they do
Hmm.
that in some of their songs, which I really like. Once again, reminded of how much I enjoy Matthias's vocals. I feel like he uses them just the right amount on this
Yeah.
album for one where he wasn't planning on being the main vocalist. I think it was the right choice by just kind of having a lot of female vocalists come in.
Hmm.
I feel like kind of like you said, Kylan, female vocalists on synth pop for some reason it just hits different, and in
Yeah.
most cases for me better.
Yeah.
Um,
I
but
am
yeah,
curious, Eric, have you listened to much Metric?
yeah, I have
Yeah.
their bigger album. What was it called? Something
Fantasies?
Fantasies. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I
I'm
like that one
curious
a
how you
lot.
feel. Yeah. I'm wondering if some of their stuff is a little too upbeat for you. I know you
I
like
think
I know you like the slower
a
regimes.
lot of it is more upbeat for my like all time favorite
Yeah.
type preferences. I saw them open for somebody and they were really good. I can't remember
The
Nice.
who it was.
Cure, wasn't it? Did they open for the Cure? Oh no,
They
Smashing
may have.
Pumpkins. Smashing
Smashing
Pumpkins.
Pumpkins.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
that'd be a
yeah.
good show.
That's I think
Yeah,
that's
they
yep.
opened for the Smash. At least that. Okay, let me
That,
phrase that. That's when I saw them. I'm not
yeah.
trying to say that's when
Oh, I
you saw.
think you're right. No, I think that's when I
I
saw
say I
them
thought we
too.
talked before about seeing the Pumpkins
Yeah,
on that tour.
yeah, yeah. I
Okay.
think you're right. I think that's what it was. Um, yeah. Like y'all said, excellent closer. For my songwritings, I try not to let too much of like the placement on the album affect it, but like it is really just like I don't know if I would have loved it as much elsewhere in the album. So it's a 4.5, 9.4 for me. Um yeah, so that's this short but sweet album.
Sweet. Dude,
Um
this was great. Wait,
that's how you like it.
what, you predicted a 3?
Yes.
Oh man, no, this is easy a 4. Maybe a
Okay.
4.5. Although I
Okay.
think if you average it out, I think it's got to be a 4. I think I gave
Okay.
mostly 4s. I think there were 2 4.5s and 2 3.5s. Everything else was
Okay.
4s.
Nice. Um we'll talk about kind of where it fits in your let's see if that affects your 4 or
Oh
4.5
yeah.
if I
It's
so
still below
your
Keith Sweat, but
well Keith Sweat's a
it's
4.
oh, well,
So
okay, maybe it's above Keith Sweat.
you gave Keith Sweat a 4, All Star United a 4, The Cure a 4, Benjamin Daniel a 4, and then you gave My Epic a 4.25.
I would put this on the same level as my Epic.
Okay. And Odd Eye Circle you also gave a 4.25.
All right, yeah, let's make those 4.25s.
Okay. Do
Yeah,
you have
I'm happy
a
with that.
thought of where it would fit between those two, or ahead of those two, or behind them?
You know, this might, I don't know, man. I really dug this album.
Okay.
Uh, maybe it's because it's the shortest album you've introduced me to. I feel like
Well, that and the Odd Eye Circle one, which
right.
you
Yeah,
both like
yeah.
quite a
I
bit.
know. I know. I think it's got to be above both of those. So
Okay.
we're dancing around 4.5 territory here.
Okay, so that puts it as your third highest rated so far
Yeah.
out of these. Okay, AJ, what are your final thoughts and
So
your
this is
score?
like a very calming album, as we kind of talked about. Like each time I listen to it, I physically feel good. Like my shoulders relax, I
Yeah.
breathe a little lighter, which is great unless it's the end of a 13-hour workday and I'm driving 2 hours to get home. I had to turn this off. I was like, I can't, I'm gonna fall
Yeah.
asleep.
That's fair.
But this is a really great like album for like audibly tackling anxiety.
Hmm.
Like this is definitely
I think that
not
might be
a
why I like
right.
resonated with it as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, like this is not a get up and go early morning record or anything like that. This is like towards the end of the night, maybe you're struggling to fall asleep. Boom, perfect for
Yeah.
Mhm.
that. So I've got this as a 2.75 out of 3.
Nice.
Where
Sweet.
does that put that
So
on my stuff?
that
I don't remember.
for you, that is the same score that you gave Falling Up, and it's behind All the Day Holiday and The Cure that you gave threes.
I respect that. I
Yeah,
agree with myself.
that tracks.
Okay. Would you think it's above or behind the Falling Up album? We'll we'll hash this out more towards the end of
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
but
No, but
just
I like
to
this. I
to give
like
me a
this.
rough
Yeah, yeah.
a rough place of where to put it.
Probably behind because the
Okay.
Falling Up album I can listen to in more settings, I
That
guess,
makes
if
That
that
makes
that
makes some
sense.
makes
sense.
yeah,
It's a
that
little
makes
less
sense.
specific. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense. Um, okay. For me, it's one that's been a 5 star at times, but it's I've got it at a 4.5, 9.508 when I average everything out.
That's so specific. I don't
Yeah.
understand. I fully don't understand. I
Well, I
love it.
have
I love it.
it.
No.
Okay. I like being able to see my thoughts as much
Yeah.
without having and I feel like assigning numbers is
No, for
a
sure.
good way
Yeah,
to do
yeah.
that.
No, I'm not disparaging
No,
your
I know.
system at
Oh, I
all.
know.
Like I just I'm like I love that because like it's wild to me to put in that much thought. I think it's very cool.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. But yeah, I think I learned from David Martin, who we've had on the show, on his blogs. He gives a letter grade to each song as well as a price that he would pay for each
Oh,
song.
I love that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I used to use that system too.
yeah. So I like okay, I don't have to just stick with one score. I can kind of
Yeah.
play around with different ones.
I mean, it is your
So
list, man. So like do whatever you
Exactly.
want. You're
Exactly.
like,
yeah.
I'm gonna start rating this as a Leprechaun song. Like, great, it's your list. It's the color orange for me. Okay.
Okay, stop making fun of me. I understand my lists are ridiculous, but
If we ever do K-pop albums again, we should give them like emojis as scores or something. That
I would
was like.
100% do that. I would do that in a heartbeat.
uh, all right. So thanks, guys, for listening to this album. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah,
Did it
it
take
was
us
good.
less time to cover the album than the length of the album?
Yes.
That's
It's pretty
impressive.
close. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, I want to shout out WoW tier patron Tim Rogers and also Seltzer tier patron Michael Porter. Uh, let's talk about one good thing for this week. I'll start off. Furnace Fest is coming back unexpectedly. It was supposed to have ended last
Unexpectedly.
year.
Come on, man. Come on.
For me it was
Yeah.
unexpected because I honestly thought it was done.
Yeah. No, I
Um,
did too.
and I don't know the details of kind of what changed the minds, but I'm glad they did. I think most people are okay with it. The people who didn't get tattoos with the 2020 to
Right.
2024.
Right.
uh,
That's wild.
yeah. So there's a lot of First Fest tattoos, believe it or not. Um, so yeah, that's kind of my one good thing. AJ, what about you?
You had to start with me.
I started with me technically.
Oh, true. That's true. Let's see, what do I got this week? I
I
got
went
to be
with you
back.
because Kylan teased his. So
See, I got to be back in the classroom this past week
okay.
at my college. I don't teach regularly, and so I got to teach this week, and I get a lot of fulfillment out of that. So that was a fun experience at the end of a very long day. So,
Nice.
and they
It's
were
probably
like,
been a long few weeks for you.
yeah, it really has. So it was nice to just kind of walk in and have a conversation because like the theme of the class, like every week a different person comes in and talks about their work, and I'm like the least specialist, go figure, in my department. So that's why I walked in and I was like, "Yep, so research chaos goblin, let's go." And so that was a lot of fun to be able to just talk to students about a wide variety of things.
Yeah, that's cool.
And hear from them and also be able to like give advice and feedback and suggestions on stuff they're working on or they have questions about. So that was cool. I don't get to be in the classroom a ton with my job. And so when I get to, I come from a family of teachers, man. Like it's a second nature kind of thing.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I love learning stuff and then like sharing it. And then there's like learning from them or hearing about their interests and being able to be like, oh, I can actually help you with that.
Nice. Yeah.
Um, and so that was a good thing this week.
It's funny you mentioned like the family or the coming from a family tree of teachers. There's got to be something like uh what's the word for passing something
Like
down? Starts with a
genetically.
H
Genetic,
or
yeah.
yeah. Because my wife comes from a family of teachers. She's a teacher. My youngest daughter is clearly going to be a teacher. Like
Yeah.
Yeah, my oldest
as
wants to. Yep, my oldest wants to be a teacher.
yeah. So it's got to be something. As soon as she started learning basketball, she was pretending to teach people basketball. So
There you
Yeah.
go.
it's as soon as she learns something, she's ready to teach it.
That's
But
awesome.
That's great.
Kylan, what about you? What's your one good
Okay.
thing?
My one good thing is I decided yesterday. So AJ knows a little bit of this. I'm working on my new album, and I've been in this weird place. I've been working on this album for like 8 years. It's been in various stages,
Chinese
and
democracy.
I'm for real, and it's probably gonna have about the same response. So I decided I had this thought that I wanted to get someone to sing on my record, and I just decided to go for it. I reached out to Galia Taylor, signed to Velvet Blue Music,
Hmm.
to sing on one of my songs.
Oh, love that.
And she got back like immediately, and we started the process of her working on a song on my new album. She's going
Love
into the
that.
studio tomorrow. I got the email while we were recording, so I'm super excited about that. It's gonna really uh, put a fire under my butt to get this thing done now that I'm actually getting other people involved. I'm really excited. So
I love that. She's great. I've
yeah,
I've enjoyed kind of getting to know her
for
on
sure.
X.
I love her voice, and I think her voice is gonna be perfect on this song. So I'm really excited to see where
Just
that
tell her
That's
to
leads.
send the song to Cloud. Be like, hey, Cloud, you want to put this out, man?
Maybe. We'll see. I don't know. I'm like that. This is why I'm like anxious about it. I'm like, I don't know. I just,
I know
I'm
he texted me. He's like, should I do this? I'm like, yes, do it.
no, I
Well,
know. And then yeah, I asked AJ. I was like, I think I'm thinking of maybe like reaching out, seeing if she wants to sing. He's like, do it. And I was like, well, no, I don't know. And then he knows me so well. He's like, okay, fine, don't do it. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it.
That's awesome. Well, I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to
So
that.
that's my one good thing.
That's awesome. What's kind of the genre focus for this?
have
Man,
you
I
met
don't
him?
know. Yeah, so it's like this album is like indie rock, I don't know, songs about faith and God and how you fit in the universe, and then a lot of songs about my dad and cigarettes. I don't know. That's
Very cool.
um
So it's a
uh
country album.
yeah, basically a country album. Yeah, no, all my friends like to play Kylan Savage song bingo with my songs.
Hmm.
Gonna talk about my dad, my wife, God, cigarettes, and whiskey. So yeah, that is a country album. Oh my God.
Exactly. You're releasing like an alt
Pretty
country
much.
album.
Yeah. But that's the thing, I'm working on
Awesome.
an actual country album at the same time, so I'm all confused.
Yeah, alt
That's
country and then like, traditional country, like country western. There's the word.
Yeah. I can't you can take the boy out of Texas, can't take the Texas out of the boy.
awesome. Well, I'm very much looking forward to hearing that. I guess that's all we got. We had no Amy Grants today. We had two
Oh
last
yeah.
week. But we still sign off.
But we
Amy
were
Grant.
all
Hold on.
yeah.
I do have the
Good.
album for next time.
Okay. Oh yeah,
Oh,
we
yeah.
need to figure that
This
out.
guy's other band. Just do that.
Okay.
Like
Log.
that
Oh
makes sense.
yeah. Yeah.
makes
No,
sense to
that's
me.
a good lateral move.
I believe it's said log. It's Logh.
Log.
Yeah, I can't do that, I don't think. But yeah, I think that's how you say it. The album is North. So I'll send that to you guys and we'll do that one next week then.
All right. All right.
Um,
Do the sign off one more time.
all right. Amy Grant.
Boom.